So, good evening everyone. Welcome to the Champions of Westeros final. This is the winter edition of 2022. And as you can see, these are our finalists. And with me today, we have Stephen Patane, as you can see, who lost in one of the semi-finals. Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening, or good morning for me.
Good morning. Yes, that's right.
Thank you for pointing out my very sad loss.
Well, we all have sad losses in this tournament, except for one
Yeah,
person. So, yeah,
yeah,
we We have Feuerbart. This is one of the finalists. You will remember him from my channel. He did that long learn to play tutorial video with me, and he is playing some very interesting decks. Okay, free folk, you don't see that every day
Oh,
in the semifinals, and some bestow stuff with Lannister Alliance, and also, as you can see, Conclave. So, very interesting player with very creative decks.
yeah. You gotta respect the when you change it up every single round. It's really good.
And Radek, of course, is a specialist in this tournament where you can swap decks. He plays all kinds of stuff, so very difficult to find something to surprise him with. And yeah, in 4 games it was Lenny Kraken, so that's kind of my suspicion, but there are no guarantees, of course. He knows that Feuerbart will be expecting something like that. So, and here we
Yeah,
go.
I'm really curious to see what they start with. Let's see.
So Feuerbart already ready, will join the game and go full screen. Yeah, I don't know what Feuerbart intends to play. I saw him playing Lannister Alliance online during the day, so maybe he's preparing that. Or could be Free Folk again.
Yeah, that free folk deck was. I'm glad we're seeing some use out of Magna then. It really just it kept your grid alive. That's what you want to see. You know, you get such a integral part of that deck. Or maybe Tormund as well if you have that. I don't know. So I think Free Folk is a very viable deck at the moment. Just don't see many people playing it.
Yeah, I guess it kind of still has that reputation that the original version had, that it's obnoxious to play against and people avoid it.
Yeah,
But it can be good.
yeah.
Okay, maybe Radek is not joining us and there won't be a game.
Oh yeah, we've got 18 more minutes. Yeah.
I guess we can have a little look before the game starts at some of the other results here. So we had, let's look at the statistics. So obviously players can swap decks, so we can't get the proper faction representation stats on the Jousting Pavilion, but just the total points. So Martell is the best faction in this edition with 25%, as you can see. Then Lannister, surprisingly, Targaryen, Baratheon, and on the other side, on the other extreme, we have Tyrell with only 6%, even though some of this edition was, I guess it was played mostly or all of it after the restricted list, which restricted some of the Tyrell Lion cards, Boros and something else.
Yeah, I still think that deck is very, very playable, but yeah, it's not it wasn't played by absolutely everybody after the restricted list, which is at least what you want to see.
Yeah, and Stark as well. Stark got hit with some restrictions, and it's the second to last here in the stats. So, but not
Yeah,
Martell.
I do like my graphs looking very orange.
Yeah, that's partly your fault, of course. You did play Martell, I think, in all of your games, did you, or most?
All I believe except for one. Um, no, I did. I played Battle of the Trident for all except for one, because I wanted to try that agenda out as much as possible.
And
Feels
then
good.
one Kingdom of Shadows, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is also a pretty nice deck. I played it in the Nordic League, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think it was similar. I think I basically stole your idea. I saw you playing it online once. Just
That's
copied it.
it. I like that. I think it's actually got a lot of potential. Because you can just the amount of hand control Martel can possess, and then you just jump in a Nighttime Marauders to discard all those cards you just saw. It's got a lot of potential, honestly.
Yeah. And works with the new army, of course.
Yes, it does, definitely. They're a bit
Presumably
expensive,
some.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it can still definitely work there. With like an Iron Bank maybe to help you pay for it.
Did you play any icon removal in the deck?
Yes, I had Shadows Orion, so there wasn't a lot though. But it was mostly just to control the few characters that were on the board. Oh, here we go. Speaking of Tyrell Lion and Lannister Lannister Alliance,
Yeah,
an interesting
Lannister.
match.
That's the one we saw last time. So Free Companies and Banner of the Dragon
Yeah, big fan of this.
plays Mercenaries. It's mostly Targaryen cards, I think, but for some reason Lannister is the main faction. I'm sure we'll see which cards are used.
Yeah,
And yeah, Tyrell Lion, I think, is not going to be any. There won't be any surprises with this one. Should be a Kingsguard deck.
very likely. With this Lannister deck, I really am enjoying a lot of the decks lately that are trying to utilize Sahara Swift. I'm pretty sure this is one of those decks.
Yeah, must be.
Yeah, so well, okay, it's
He's
got to be one of those decks. It's
he's
not the
non-loyal,
stone.
so Feuerbart also used him in the Martell Lion that won the Canadian Nationals.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Okay, going for initiative with the Maiden, and Radek with Light Summer Fist must have something pretty big, and the Arbor as well, so lots of stuff to come in probably.
We've also got a lot of cancel right off the bat. Got Red Keep, Begging Brother, and Guildhall straight away.
And
So
Feuerbart going for the gold on the Iron Bank to get so that it doubles immediately, not the Begging Brother.
that does make sense. He's got very little economy right now. Probably wants to start stacking that up. Ooh, Balerion is a very, very good card to find right now.
Yeah, but he won't be able to take everything, I think. So if there is unbridled generosity, it's just one trigger per round.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it's going to stop his Iron Bank from gaining gold, which is what he wants. Yeah. So very
Yeah,
nice find.
I think he has possibly some other cards as well that can put gold on it. Can
Oh yeah.
the Cersei's Informer put gold? I don't remember it. I think it puts gold on any
Yeah.
non-spy card or something like that. So
Correct. Yeah. Any non-spy card, so it can be locations. I believe. He can easily also, especially if he's holding 3 gold, fetch a. Oh, maybe not anymore, but he can fetch an Aegon, find a Vargo Hote, and that's a way to put it onto a character. But so he has that's the I guess that's the versatility that Banner of the Dragon gives you, eh?
and we have seized on the Old Town Undercity, which is one source of draw. Not the only one for this deck, obviously. Skimming Septon is already in play. And no obvious way to cancel him now. No gold for the Red Keep or gold on Begging Brother.
I wonder if Guildhall or Old Town City was better here. I think Old Town City was the right call. Disrupting that draw for what, 3 turns seems useful enough.
Yeah, with some intrigue claim as well. So 5 currently in hand and 2 in shadows. And if those cards start going and the game goes long, it will definitely make a huge difference.
So let's see what the green claim provides. Eva Dreams. You love to see it. You love to see that card in the final. I mean, it works so well with free companies.
I don't remember. Did I stream one game the other day um, that had these fewer dreams and they drew something like 6 cards in 2 triggers. Two triggers. It's the 2 cards per trigger, so something like 3 triggers. And gold was kept putting back on it. So I don't remember if I played against Feuerbart recently against something like this, or maybe I covered it on one of the streams. Definitely remember this making a huge difference. Was it maybe? No, I don't think it was the Champions of Westeros that I covered.
Hmm. Either way, yeah. In this deck here, when you have gold being swapped around, moved around all over the place, it's just an easy form of draw, really. Queen of Thorns discarded for Feuerbart's intrigue claim.
Yeah, the shadow one.
You don't usually see that in this deck,
Yeah,
do
I
you?
was just going to say, certainly the versions that we saw before the restricted list, the 3 that were posted within a week, I think, on ThronesDB.
We could potentially be looking at a different Tyrell line here. Maybe he is just going a more modest Shadows deck.
Yeah, and if he is doing something different than the usual Kingsguards, we don't really know at this point, because the only card that we saw was the Scheming Septon that was going to be in the deck anyway, and now this Queen of Thorns. Balerion, I think, is a direct counter because Hannes is known for bestow here, so.
Yeah. I think even the Scheming Septon you still see in that Knight deck, don't you? Just as another form
Yes,
of
for sure.
gold, yeah.
I think you see it in virtually every Tyrell deck.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a very good card.
Yeah. No reason not to play it. Okay, and we have the Stranger against the Father, okay. So that's going to kill the Begging Brother.
Yes. With Balerion's very important passive text that he cannot be killed.
Okay, here comes the gold again, and there is, of course, an action window to take it away.
Which he's going to take. How dare the Iron Bank try to make money? Cat waltzes in and stops that. Alright, so we're seeing a lot of economy from IRL deck over here, which is no surprise realistically. But he's already got +6 gold from locations alone. So hopefully Feuerbart can keep up with this.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that political disaster was coming with the Arbor and the Red Wine Strains, but maybe not.
Hmm.
Guildhall, of course, escapes, and
Yep.
the other icon, okay, not that important. You can even sacrifice it to draw, and then
Which he probably
Undercity
will
is
do,
locked.
to be honest.
Yeah, if he plays political
Yeah.
disaster, he can get rid of the Undercity and trigger this gate of the
Yeah.
gods. But it doesn't really hurt Feuerbart that much just now, because he's down to only 3. If he starts playing lots of Rose Roads and stuff like that, of course, it will be a different story.
Do we think that the Tyrell deck would be packing political disaster?
I think
Potentially.
the Kingsguards decks did usually. They won
Okay.
very quickly, and then if they didn't, why not just play Political Disaster? Keep the 2 unique ones.
Well, we are. I feel like it might not actually be a Kingsguard deck, purely just by the 2 plots that he's played. Even though technically Kingsguard's decks can still run those two plots. That and the Queen of Thorns. I feel like he's just playing some Shadows, which honestly I'm more excited for.
Yeah, and we have the 7 cards, so for sure he is playing Sparrows. He usually does.
Yeah. We've got Haldan Halfmaester on the board.
And the Mercenary
Another
discarded, that's pretty good. For
company,
Feuerbart, I
yes.
mean, it's a good target because Tyrion exists, of course.
Yep. Although unfortunately Tyrion cannot Golden Company cannot save itself from Tyrion's ability, specifically because he places them in the bottom of the deck rather than returns to hand. But it's still an easy fetch. 5 strength, mill power. It's always good. Let's roll the dice for Halfmaester. See what card he's going to bestow, if any. Maybe he'll get lucky and he'll find Aegon on top of his deck. That's a good discard, right there.
Yeah. Okay, so Guildhall used and not cancelled by the Red Keep, which means Haldon does nothing.
But he brings out his surprise, it was Aegon and Shadows. Probably got a lot of choices here. So let's see what he ends up going with. Honestly, I even feel like Golden Company is not a terrible idea here. He'll be able to bestow the gold onto them immediately. Keeps them in play. He's looking for a bit of board presence, I feel like. There you go.
Yeah. Aegon going back to hand, presumably with the plot.
Very likely. I don't see him returning Halfmaester. Eight strength power. I guess he just wants to be very safe, very sure, and he's got every right to be. Barrows coming under Shadows.
Okay, that gets cancelled.
I think that's a fair cancel, honestly. He's not really going to use that gold. I guess it'll just be for tying Dom, but who cares too much right now? I actually don't know if the father can be triggered here, can it?
It can, yes, why not?
Oh no, Balerion. Yes, I forgot that Balerion was unique. Yeah, so that's really good. That's a really good play by Feuerbart there. We're very likely to see Aegon next turn. In fact, he's even discarded Dario.
And now if he really wants the Iron Bank, he could use it again here, the free companies, I mean. And then Balerion probably doesn't come into play fast enough to get it down to 0 again.
Yeah. And then the Iron Bank can start making bank. Finally. Although if Balerion has his way, he can probably keep the Iron Bank on 1 gold. Which is, in this case, I would say, just as bad as it being on 0 gold.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got another copy of the Father. And Pointy End.
Yeah, Pointy End does nothing. And then the father currently would not trigger because there isn't a unique character, but I'm sure Radek will manipulate the board in his favor.
Yeah.
Probably something unique in Shadows that has a good trigger. We haven't seen many Lion cards so far, so I'm guessing it's Mandon Moore and Sir Robert Strong.
Yeah. The 2 King's Guards that you'd like to repeat.
Boros, I'm not sure what else is restricted here? So it's a Bounty of High Garden is restricted, so he's playing Boros, he's not playing that.
I wonder if Boros actually gives him enough value here. Really depends on how many knights he's able to find in this Shadows deck, but he could be playing it. Even just the value of finding one of those King's Guards and then Iron Banking them back to hand. It's almost like Boros is a fantastic card as well. Here you go. Here's the Tyrion that we like to see, especially with two very solid cards in the discard pile. If Radek finds any ally companions or mercenaries, Darian Harris is going to snatch them up immediately.
Yeah.
But it's got 13. It's got 13 gold, so it's got a lot that he could do.
Shadows deck, possibly playing Old Billbone. Not sure what other mercenaries could be. Thinking also of Tyrion because he can take mercenaries from the opponent's discard pile, but that almost never comes up. Okay, duped Knight of Flowers, not bad.
Yeah. That is so far the first King's Guard we have seen, if this is still a King's Guard deck. But he can also very easily fit Shadows.
Yeah, he could just be playing this guy for the renown and then shadow cards to stand him without the Kingsguard synergies. Marcel saying in the chat that Cat's Paw also is a card in this deck. Yeah, not surprising. So Cat's Paw can return Sparrows to hand to be replayed if you have the gold. Works better, I guess, in timed games when they go close and time expires.
Definitely, yeah.
That was the basis, I think, of one of the combo decks a while back that was played. It was Martell Lion that played Sparrows and the Iron Bank and tried to get infinite gold, and then Orphans of the Green Blood to replay it and take all the power from the faction card.
Yeah, and using the Lannister spy. It's something we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, Cersei's Informer.
Yeah. Oh, no, is it Cersei's Informer or? No, it is. Yeah, Cersei's Informer. Yeah, to just continuously give those orphans gold. I remember versing it once and not knowing what was happening until the very last turn.
Yeah, and plays stall, plays uneasy truce and some resets so that you can't win, and then suddenly the Iron Bank has 80 gold and there's a double orphan and takes all of your power. It even played Compelled by the Fate and stuff like that to make sure that the power was on the faction card where you could take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident that's part of the reason why Iron Bank was redesigned, but I guess it's also just for the bestow support.
Yeah, it got pretty crazy. The Iron Bank, it fueled many of these combo decks. I think decks that just stalled and then did some unlimited loop. Well, just the Cancer Lancer basically can do it with Orphans and Vanguard Lancers.
Yeah.
Much more difficult now. You can get it if you have enough gold and you can ignore it. It grows, but it's not going to grow to 80 ever.
No. Unless if you do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And somehow last that long. So I think I actually missed what Feuerbart had used free companies on. Was it Tyrion?
No, the faction card was nailed by Old Billbone when he came out of Shadows, and then the Iron Bank will have its due, returned him to hand. Yeah, Radek starting to play a bit here on the board. So Sparrows trying to trigger and also has Renown on the Knight of Flowers.
No, he did. He did use. He used free companies on Iron Bank, and then must have spent that 2 gold.
Did he?
So I remember seeing. Yeah, I remember seeing the faction card melt before the challenges phase started. So I could see he did it in the draw phase.
Alright, so Old Bill Bone did nothing then. Just came out of shadows. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Got another Sparrows. Sparrow's definitely doing some work at the moment.
Yeah, and the Kansas running out, so Red keep no more gold. And Begging Brother was removed earlier with the Stranger.
Yeah, I honestly think finding that Balerion turn 1 was incredibly lucky. Maybe he has 3 copies.
Yeah, it's possible if he prepared specifically for the matchup, he can.
Yeah,
It's possible.
which you can do in this league. I know anybody versing me probably would have just seen Battle of the Trident. Let's just try to counter that.
So now,
Which is absolutely
did Tyrion had a dupe, I think, so he was returned to hand, and Feuerbart didn't save him, which is interesting. So obviously he was targeted instead of the other guy, Haldon, which means there is a Morgulis, but there isn't March to the Wall probably.
the Stranger. Okay. I guess hitting. I wonder what Radek chooses here, because he likely wants to reuse those Sparrows. Yeah, he chooses Knight of Flowers. Oh no, that's for Validity. Sorry.
Yeah, just one of the Sparrows. He could have chosen everything. So just the one keeps one alive, and now the Stranger will kill. Well, we'll see what it kills. It could kill Knight of Flowers instead, which of course would be saved then. No, Sparrows makes sense, but still on a Misty Morn possibly.
Yeah, I'm wondering why he didn't. Yeah, I'm wondering why he didn't either kill both or save both. If he has Misty Morn, you can return up to 2, correct?
Yeah, so that would make sense. Or maybe he doesn't have it, he's just trying to keep one alive and hopefully draw it at some point.
Yeah, maybe he has Misty Morn in the deck. So yeah, he's just holding for that. So it seems that this Balerion just will not go away.
Okay, 3 cards in Shadow, so that's most of the resources now gone if Feuerbart can do something useful here. And Milk
he does
helps.
Yep, he does have economy. Well, maybe not as much economy as Tyrell, but I feel like he has enough economy to do something here. That Knight of Flowers is definitely a real big threat here. So that milk, probably a good idea.
He did have the pointy end, slightly premature possibly, did nothing that round, but now the Knight of Flowers does have some power on him.
Correct, yeah. This would have been a good pointy end hit. It is also good to point out that next turn, Old Town Undercity will not be blanked. So that's a pretty easy way to draw cards back up. Especially with 3 in Shadows. He likely doesn't want to use that Gate of the Gods anymore. Due to the power from Sparrows.
Yeah, and if he's playing these just to put power on them, I think possibly Political Disaster is not in the deck. So 3 left for both players, and we've seen the Father and the Stranger and the Harris. I wonder how many resets he could possibly have. If there's Morgulis as well, that's only 2 plots left that actually do something.
Even then, Mongolas, I don't think it'll really do anything here, right? It'll get rid of the Knight of Flowers dupe, and it'll do absolutely nothing to Balerion. So unless he pulls anything else out of Shadows that isn't returning to your deck, like Skimming Septon, he does always have that trick. Aegon is always available, which is.
Yeah. It's a good
I would
play.
say, I would say it's Feuerbart's biggest trick right now. Yeah.
1 golden Tyrion, so he does not have Shadow, which means Alchemist Guildhall can get him, but then Red
Yep.
Keep cancels that.
Valerian can also just get rid of the gold. Which is likely what he's doing here.
Yeah, and you can't really... Well, he does cancel it, but then Guildhall will cancel Tyrion now.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, that's right. He has to actually trigger Tyrion.
Dario and the Golden Company currently targets.
Yes. But yeah, he needs some sort of answer to Valerian and Guildhall. So potentially finding, I don't know, another Begging Brothers or his own Guildhall to cancel Valerian. But he is in a bit of a tight spot right now, especially with Robert Strong
Yeah,
coming into play.
that's tough, and that's even before the military challenge.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of play you do have to expect with a Banner Lion Shadows deck. Any 5-cost character that's kneeling is potentially going to die. And I guess the added bonus with Tyrell is you just have that flexible economy with things like Scheming Septon that if you're on 3 gold, you're actually on 5 gold. Which, as we saw there, is very crucial. I don't even know if there was much that Feuerbart could have done there. Maybe if he didn't cancel Balerion. But
Yeah, Red Keep can cancel, I guess, Robert Strong, but still, it's not pleasant
yeah,
because he still does the military, and there are only 2 characters on the board, Aegon and Tyrion, and Guildhall cancels Tyrion's ability if you have to keep the Red Keep. So yeah, no answer really. And this time he goes for gold, so he must have something in hand, hopefully to take the game into the last 2 rounds, where possibly double Morgulis can then change the game a little bit. There's no obvious power gain with the milk on Knight of Flowers and Sparrow's gone, so if he can just oppose, he could still stall a little bit.
definitely.
And now is this gone?
Yep. There we go. He's got his own Red Keep as well. It's all of the Lannister cards that a bunch of people hate.
Yeah.
Regent's Guard, returning Robert Strong to hand. Although, where did Regent's Guard? Oh, there we go. Okay. Seems to be doing a few things out of order here, but should be fine. Yeah, so this is looking. I'd be surprised if Radek isn't able to win this turn, to be honest. But it all depends on what we see from Feuerbart. He does have quite a lot of gold to spend and quite a lot of cards in hand, so I feel like if he can hold out for 1, maybe 2 turns, could do something. But I guess if he doesn't have the plots to deal with anything now, then this is just going to take a bit of time. Even if he has a PD here, I still don't even think that does much. Does
No,
anything?
no. It's
Yeah.
the 2 locations are duped, so you keep that and the draw now, the Red Keep and the Old Town Undercity.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult now to turn it around because the Undercity can trigger and get you more cards. If, for instance, double Morgulis was played without the other city on the board, and you have 3 cards in shadows, no cards in hand, maybe things can turn around, but not with the additional draw.
No.
But still, not quite over yet, so he can still try to just oppose everything. There is no power gain beyond power claim, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. The 2 Lannister locations here, I feel are just limiting a lot of his options, a lot of Feuerbart's options. Well, that along with Balerion. As I said, I do think that Balerion is the MVP here in this game. He hasn't even been able to stack his Iron Bank, unfortunately.
Yeah, Harsh had it on setup,
Yeah.
and even with 3 companies. Okay, here we go. Misty Morn played. Can take the Begging Brother, but that can be cancelled by the Guild Hall. $13 gold, so basically the first thing is to oppose all the challenges and keep it on 13 at most.
Second Son, that's some good efficiency here. Now he does have Robert Strong in his hand, sorry, in Shadows, and he can marshal it because it was returned with Regent's Guard. Sorry, not marshal. He can bring it out of Shadows because it was returned with Regent's Guard. Thinking about discarding an unfortunate Tyrion, as he died last turn. And I feel like this Tyrell Lion deck, even though it very clearly isn't Kingsguard, it still really just proves the robust economy that this combination can get. Like if you look at his board, you've got the Red Keep giving you gold. You've got obviously Scheming Septon and Arbor and Redwine Straits, all fantastic economy cards. Just all of these fueling those shadows. Every good shadows card you can think of. You just don't really have to worry. There's very little chance that you're going to find no economy as well.
And this is now the problem. So Red Keep and the Guild Hall are going to win out over the Begging Brother.
Yeah. And there's just not much he can do about that.
So that's already one unopposed challenge. Yeah, could be game over here, unless there is something in hand. Yeah, so in the upcoming pack there is a plot that affects all the card types on the board. It reduces your number of characters on the board and locations on the board to 3. And then your cards in hand and shadows combined to 3. So if this was played, for instance, against Radek right now, and it cannot be saved as well, so he could keep 3 locations and 3 cards in shadows and 3 cards on the board, and suddenly things would be a lot more even than they were.
Definitely. He would have to choose between his economy and his control with those locations. I don't know if it would have. Maybe it was played, 2 or 3 turns ago. It would have affected his hand/shadows, and it would definitely have affected his board right now. But yeah, that's. I am looking forward to that card, seeing how it affects the meta.
Yeah, for sure. I think against this kind of obnoxious shadows deck that keeps a lot of cards in areas that you can't really access, it's going to be pretty big, and it's like a mini political disaster because it drops your location number to 3, so the huge economy. But yeah, with unique locations that provide more than one, it's still pretty strong against that. I think it's pretty resilient against location control.
Yeah, it's like to be honest, it's like a mix of a few plots. Just using the number 3 instead. It's a little bit like a wildfire, but at least in its current form, it doesn't kill. It just returns to the bottom of the deck. It's like a political disaster, but it's 3 and cannot be saved.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if there's anything. It's like expose, I guess, but you can choose up to 3. So as we mentioned, we do see
Yeah,
Radek
even
taking the win.
against that tempo play beneath the goal, the bitter still bringing in Dario Naharis. There is still a shrewd diplomat to remove him. So just even with Feuerbart trying to oppose everything, couldn't be done. Just winning with unopposed here, Radek.
Yeah, he played the best he could. As I've hounded on multiple times, I think it's just very unfortunate that he saw a Valerian early on to just
Yeah.
stop half of it, what felt like all of his economy at the start of Iron Bank. Because it's not like Feuerbart didn't have cards in hand. He always had cards in hand. It's just I feel like he just wasn't able to play them.
Yeah, if he could get a decent number on the Iron Bank just to spend that a little bit. So he had a couple of 6 gold plots and had to play the Stranger in between. It's only 3 gold. And he has 3 economy locations, so it's not bad, but probably he's relying on a bit more and on the Iron Bank bonus that you get with free companies.
Yeah, I guess that's just one of the things of this sort of tournament. If you know the player, you can push the game into your favor, and that's absolutely fair. That's how this is meant to work, I think.
Yeah, nicely chosen deck by Radek here. He's, as I said, he is very good at that. He always does well in these Champions of Westeros events. I think, let's just see the stats here. I think this is his second win, but the last one was a while back. Let's see, yeah. So winter 2020, so exactly 2 years ago, he managed to win one that had 63 players at the time, and this is his second win in this tournament series. So very nicely done for Radek.
Yeah.
And at this point, I would like to invite everyone to take part in the next one. So as you can see, the number of players is decreasing with these events a lot in recent times. There used to be over 100 in some of the previous ones, and now it's down to 27 for this one. And yeah, there will be a bit more promotion for the next one and possibly some prize support as well. We've been talking about that a little bit to offer some help to Nereus, who has organized the last quite a few of these events now, and try to restore some of the prestige it used to have, and of course to bring the numbers up. So hopefully all of you can join us for the next one, which would be the spring edition. I will of course post the link to the registration whenever that opens up everywhere, and invite you at the time. Yeah, so I think that's go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like this tournament is a very, very good opportunity to test decks that you're not sure if they work competitively, but you want to see if they work competitively. Because that's at least what I was doing to start off.
To see if the Trident deck works, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So it's that's at least how I saw this, and I'm going to be honest, I'm definitely going to be participating from here on out if I'm able to. So yeah, I would also encourage, like, if you enjoy playing cards, this is a sort of tournament where you can play if you want to be casual. You can also play if you want to be competitive. I feel like it fits both.
Yeah, some players don't like it. Don't like the format where you can swap decks, and then it turns around into this guessing game where you try to counter the opponent's deck. But I kind of like that aspect. I've basically tried to guess a little bit in the past because many players, most I would say in this tournament, are known players who I've played against a lot, and I kind of know a little bit what they like to play, and then you try to find something, but it doesn't always work, of course.
Yeah, if you're versing me, you know, there's not 90% chance my cards are going to be orange.
Yeah, so that's it for our YouTube video. So we'll be talking just for a few minutes after we conclude this one about the upcoming playtesting tournament, but we'll end it here for the Champions of Westeros video with an invitation again to join if you can, the next one. And I'll also be uploading a few of the videos from the previous games that we had. I think we have 4 that are still to come. I wanted to wait for the final to end so that the players were not disadvantaged, obviously, because it's not supposed to be open spectating. You can play your games privately, but the players did allow us to record some of the games, luckily, so we have footage of that coming up on my channel, so hopefully you can have a look at that. So this is it for this video. Thanks, Steven, for joining us today, and hopefully we can get you on commentary a few more times in the future.
Yeah, pleasure as always. Love to be here.
All right, take care.